Through the University of Washington's CHID program, we went on a study abroad named Food as Right, Farming as Knowledge, Agroecology and Food Sovereignty in Ecuador. And we visited different farmers in the Andean and Amazonian regions to learn more from their traditional farming practices. This experience was designed to show us different ways communities struggle when it comes to sustainable farming. And in each of those communities we visited, I noticed the desirability and the challenges that come with growing your own food. For our first visit, we met Hilario, a Quechua native in Tabacundo, which is located in the Andes of Ecuador. Hilario and his family are the only ones in their area practicing agroecology, and his neighbors think it's odd he's not farming the traditional method. But Hilario feeds 40 families with his plot of land. He's actually part of an Ecuadorian research study to see if his method of farming would be beneficial to the rural farming community. That being said, Hilario doesn't have to worry about his water supply because the government helps him out to make sure he has plenty of water. I should also mention that when we went to Ecuador, they were in the middle of a horrible summer drought. It didn't rain for months, so farmers are desperately looking for ways to become more resilient against climate change. A couple hours away in Cusubamba, we met Edwin, who doesn't get water subsidies, but instead, his water is rationed through the mountain spring. His land is beautiful. He thanks the worms for the soil health and the ability to retain water. Though it's not like this happened overnight. It took the ancestral knowledge from his father and 14 years of working his land and practicing agroecology to create a wonderful environment. One of my favorite parts of the trip was cooking Pachamanca. Using the herbs and vegetables from Edwin's land, we put together a traditional Ecuadorian and Peruvian Andean dish. Pachamanca involves digging a hole in the ground, placing hot stones in the hole, and layering the hole with herbs, vegetables, and meat. The meal consisted of potatoes, yams, green beans, corn, chicken, and so much flavor. Edwin explained to us that the hole represents the belly of Pachamama, meaning Mother Earth, and that when we put the food inside, she becomes pregnant. And when the food is ready, it is her birthing the food to us. And more than 6 hours away, and a 15,000-foot drop in elevation, we traveled to the Quechua and Guarani lands in the Amazon. And what a change in the climate. Nature has a lust for life here. We visited Isolina, an Amazonian Quechua, and Nancy, a Guarani native. Two badass women.
This is how we do it, and We take care of the water, we take care of the earth, we take care of the forest. Chihuacocha, the name of the community around here, they have all been in resistance against oil companies coming here because look at what we do here. Like, we don't need any sort of fertilizers, we don't need any spraying, we don't need anything. The jungle provides itself, provides it for us. And the president of the community is now Nadino's Sorina's son, and they have been signing commitments to not allow any sort of extractive industries in the community. And this is what keeps Chihuacocha being like kind of unique in the because other communities are signing deals with oil companies.
Esa ha sido nuestra lucha que hemos ido en el año 90, creo que marcha Quito para defender nuestro territorio.
Yeah, that's our struggle. In the
Hemos
90s,
luchado,
we
entonces
marched
para
to
no
Quito
solo para nosotros, para toda la comunidad, y para
for
nosotros y
everyone,
para futuros hijos que
for
van
our,
y
for our
vienen,
sons
entonces para ellos
in the future.
que luchan, los jóvenes también. Y
The
nosotros ya
struggle is for
estamos de
the
edad,
young
y
ones.
entonces que los jóvenes que van luchando ahora. En este caso, mi hijo ya está así luchando, todo del territorio,
We're on our way
del
out,
aire,
but
todo.
our sons keep the struggle, and fortunately, my son is now in the leadership too, and he's also fighting. So this keeps going.
We learned that half of the Amazon's population is indigenous, and their guiding mission is defending the Amazon territory. But the struggle lies in creating autonomy and independence from the state of Ecuador. The biggest threats to the Amazon are oil and mining, and unfortunately, the Ecuadorian government assigns blocks of land to oil companies which are funded by banks. And these blocks of land end up being on native territory. This gives indigenous people no choice but to resist and protect their homes. Nancy is the daughter of Dayuma, one of the first Guarani to leave the tribe and learn a different culture. Dayuma made friends with the missionary and learned Christianity. She appeared on This Is Your Life with Rachel Saint, who is the missionary who taught her another way of life. Later, Dayuma returned to the Guarani tribe and became a key figure in navigating her people to make their own way of life in the modern world. And today, Nancy and her son Moy are leaders in representing the Guarani people to the rest of the world.
Aquí. Nunca va a salir. Entonces, ¿qué mata? ¿Qué puede topar? Así ha trabajado Santiago. No puede sacar. Sí, cuando entran. Así como Guerrero Muy Paz ha matado a la compañía Shell, Cantú Jaracú. ¿Cuántas compañías han matado a Muy Paz?
In self-defense, the Guarani have indeed fought outsiders, and there's a complex history in the Amazon between indigenous and settlers, but also tribes. That being said, the Guarani people are finding ways to interact with outsiders. Moy is a great example of this as he shares the Guarani lifestyle through social media. And this is his response to their way of life.
So why don't you want to like make this like the main source of income, I guess, is my question? Like, do this bigger scale or make more?
La pregunta es si esto no puede ser un mayor ingreso para ustedes, ¿por qué no es el enfoque de la economía guarani, enfocarse en la artesanía?
Porque la artesanía, o sea, es una muy buena pregunta, pero los enfoques de trabajo son muy distintos del mundo occidental. O sea, la gente no está enfocada en hacer dinero, de hecho. La gente está enfocada en hacer como esto es una manera tradicional de poder mantener la cultura, porque cuando Las mujeres y los hombres hacen artesanías, les cantan a los niños, les transmiten historias y todo eso. Entonces ellos lo ven como de esta manera, pero como muy ancestral. Entonces nunca dicen como que vamos a hacer solo esto, pero el campo, hacer las chacras, todo eso es del trabajo diario de ellos, pero también lo ven de la misma manera.
The main answer to your question, it's a good question, but we think of things very differently from the Western capitalist world. Our objective is not to make money. So when people make these kinds of art, this kind of art, they do it and they're singing to their children. So they're actually transmitting knowledge. This is a way of preserving and maintaining a culture, not making money. So that's not our concern, and so that's why we do this in this particular way.
My experience is that sustainable farming is extremely rewarding because you work with life. But I can't give you an accurate representation of the struggle because I only know it in theory and I haven't lived through it. I can tell you that growing crops is a lot of work, and it's hard to predict your yield with environmental and systemic factors. Maybe one day I'll be able to tell you what it's like though. I want to thank all of our hosts for being so hospitable and sharing their culture. I also want to thank our directors for putting this study abroad together and challenging our thinking. Lastly, I want to thank my fellow peers in the CHID department for creating an interdisciplinary learning environment.